All right, welcome. Okay, so my name is Riz. So this is the build to last method. Okay, so this is pretty much the missing link that I see currently, I guess, for the past 12 years of me coaching since 2014. So it's very easy to lose weight. And I'm betting that if you're watching this, you have done it in the past where you've tried dieting, you try cutting carbs, you try the usual intermittent fasting, you try to go keto, try to get like super low carb, stuff like that. And then you try walking 10,000 steps per day, you try doing a lot of cardio, try doing all the HIIT classes you wear on YouTube, stuff like that. You try to work out, went to the gym, you work out at home, did like a ton of like all those HIIT workouts at burpees, it just didn't work out. And maybe you probably would spend money on personal trainers, but you still didn't manage to lose weight and keep it off. Okay, how do I know? Because I have not only lived it, I'm also a coach. I see it both ways. I've lived it and I also see my clients go through with it. Okay. So this is pretty much the missing link that I see or what most people go through, that you understand why after watching this video, why some people just can't keep it off. Okay. Because they don't have the build to last method. Okay. So they don't have a system that is built to last, okay, for you to lose weight and keep it off. So I'm going to show you exactly the 4-step process of fat loss, build to last method, on how I get my clients to lose 8 to 20 kgs plus and keep it off. All right, let's get started. Okay, so this is pretty much, there's going to be like 4 steps. All right, so each of the steps is going to be as important as one to the other. Now, for you to make sure that you lose your fat process, this whole process might take you, like, for you to lose the weight and keep it off, it can take about it's actually going to be taking more than 3 months. So usually I see with my clients, it takes about 6 months to 12 months. Okay, so why does it take about 6 months to 12 months or more? Okay, I'm going to show you step by step why. So the first step that you need to do, one of the missing link, is that when people start to lose weight, they immediately think about just cutting out carbs, cutting out rice, cutting out bread. I'm going to do a lot of cardio. I'm just going to go run and stuff like that. But when people do that, okay, especially when you don't get enough protein, when you don't do like enough strength training, you will lose a lot of muscle mass. Number one, it's very easy for you to lose your muscle mass. When you lose your muscle mass, your metabolism is going to drop as well. So what keeps your metabolism high? Part of it, and majority of it, will be having a significant amount of muscle mass, which will also help you regulate your insulin sensitivity level better as well. Okay. So those kind of things is extremely important. So step one of the missing factor is that what I get my clients to do is we start with the metabolic restoration phase. Now, what exactly is the metabolic restoration phase? So this is where we prime your metabolism. So meaning that it sounds a bit fancy, but essentially what we do is we want to make sure that we get your body primed for a fat loss phase. So how we do this, instead, first we need to find out what exactly is your maintenance calories. We'll start off by figuring out based on your activity level, based on your age, your height, your body fat percentage, stuff like that. And then there is a ton of calculators that you can do. I have my own calculators. You have your own calculators, okay? So there's a lot of online calculators out there. You can just try it out, but the math is pretty straightforward. So a lot of my clients, okay, so what we do is we collect the data. So we get a nutrition history and stuff like that. So there will be like all these math that we go through. So this is the most common one that people go through. You can use the McFain St. George math, but there's also like plenty of other calculators out there that you can use. So entirely up to you what you want to use. Okay. So anyways, coming back to this. So once you figure out your maintenance calories, that is going to be your 0.0. So like I said, this 0.0 is extremely important when people just immediately straight away cut calories with it. I'm going to eat about 1,000 calories, 1,002 calories. Why? Because they think that is the most efficient way. But for you to actually know exactly the amount of calories, the amount of weight calories that you need to lose, okay, especially the amount of weight that you want to lose as well, there will be some math behind it. The reason why, let's say, for example, if you're looking to lose about, I'll make it easy for you guys. If you're looking to lose about, let's say, 10 kgs in the next 3 months, so that's about, so each kg that you lose is roughly about 7,700 calories that you need to lose. So times by 10, that's 77,000 calories. Now, 77,000 calories, let's say you want to lose it in the next 3 months. Can be a bit aggressive, but you can just give it a shot, try. So 77,000 calories, let's say divide by 12 weeks, divide by 7 days. Okay, that will be about 916 calories of deficit per day. Okay, so that means, but 916 calories minus what? So that's where your 0.0 comes in. That's where your maintenance calorie comes in. So if your maintenance calories is, let's say, for example, is 2,500, then you minus 916. So roughly, so that's where it's going to be. Let's say if you're just purely on consuming calories itself, so you need to be consuming about 1,584 calories for you to lose roughly about 10 kgs in the next 3 months. But there are other ways to attack this. So that 916 calories deficit, you can either, what I just mentioned, from the food itself. So you reduce 900 calories from your calorie intake, or you can do from calorie output where you increase your activity level. You increase your NEAT, you increase your exercise activity, you do more cardio, stuff like that. All that comes into play. Okay. But both will come with their pros and cons. Okay. If you're doing too many exercises, there's also going to be like a compensation factor as well. If you're consuming too little, then also there's going to be a lot. You compensate by other ways throughout the whole day. So that's another factor that we're going to, a topic that I can just deep dive, but I'm not going to talk into it. Okay, coming back to this. So what we're going to do is we find out your 0.0 first, your maintenance calories. That's the first step. Oh, that's the first step of step one. After we know your maintenance calories, then what we need to do is we need to tune the food that you have been consuming. So that means we need to tune your macros a bit. So if you have been consuming, let's say 2,500 as our maintenance calories, as an example, but maybe you've been consuming more than 2,500. But if you've been eating like shit, okay, so you've been eating a lot of processed food, like high fat, high carbs, nothing wrong with carbs, nothing wrong with fat, but if it's too excessive and you're not getting enough protein, enough fiber, that's where the problem comes in. So if you've been eating like shit, essentially, for all this 6 months, 12 months, 1 year, 5 years, whatever, so you're more likely to be, I would say, insulin resistant. So what we're going to do is we want to try to prime you back, getting you more insulin sensitive again. So how we do this, get you to actually eat at your maintenance calories, and then at the same time, increasing your protein intake, and by anywhere 1.6 to 2.2 per kilogram, then increase your fiber intake as well. Make sure you track these two. Like for men, ideally hit about 30 to 35 grams. For female, at least 25 grams per day or more. If you have other issues that you can't eat too much fiber, that's between you and your doctor. Okay, so I'm talking about more on the general population. So anyways, coming back to here. So when this happens, when we actually get you to actually eat at your maintenance calories by increasing your protein, increasing your fiber, a lot of magic things can happen as well. So you actually start noticing that you might be losing a bit of water weight because you're not eating like shit, or there's less inflammation that's happening throughout the whole body. Also, you're retaining less water as well from having less inflammation, or consuming less carbs as well, probably. Not get carbs. If you've been eating like too much of carbs, too much of high sodium stuff, that will help you retain a lot of water. So what we want to do now is actually we want to get you to eat at maintenance calories, but because at this point you should not feel hungry, you should not be gaining weight as well, you should not be losing weight as well. At your maintenance calories, we want you to also get you to start to establish good habits. If you've been under eating, I'll get to this, but at your maintenance calories, it's the easiest point for you to start establishing good habits because you won't be hungry at this point in time. It's a lot easier for you because you'll be eating more. You'll be eating at your maintenance calories. We haven't started a deficit yet. You're going to be eating all your protein. We're going to get your fiber in, drink more water, get more sleep and stuff like that. All these kind of habits that we're going to introduce, get like your strength training in, get your steps in and stuff like that. It's a lot easier to establish habits when you're not hungry. Okay, so that's one. Okay, so this is for people who have been like eating like shit all these years. Okay, we want to get you to be insulin sensitive again. So we'll start at this point here. Second, so if you've been under eating for all this while, like I have some clients with me, before they came to me, they were eating like 900 calories, 1,000 calories, but they have trouble losing fat. They have trouble looking lean, even though they've been eating quite a lot. Now, let me address this point. If you are in an actual calorie deficit, okay, if you're eating like 900, 1,000 calories, what tends to happen is that you will go through something what we call metabolic adaptation. So it's not necessarily mean that your metabolism is broken. There is such thing as broken metabolism, but that is a lot more serious issue which you need a medical intervention for that. Okay, but usually what tends to happen if you've been consuming very little calories, your body is great at adapting. It will adapt to your new lower calories in other ways by moving less throughout the whole day as well. There are plenty of ways. And then when you suddenly have one episode of binge eating, it's a lot easier for you to store body fat as well. So this is the kind of thing why some people have trouble losing fat when they've been consuming about like 900, 1,000, 1,100 calories, because there's no proper guidance for it. There's no proper plan. If this happens, what do we do? Stuff like that. So if you've been under eating for a while, like one of my clients, she gave me like 900 calories. We actually did reverse dieting first before metabolic restoration. So slowly increasing her calories all the way up to her new maintenance calories. And then we started the metabolic restoration first before we started another fat loss phase. But essentially that's what we did. So just by doing the reverse dieting to her new maintenance calories, she actually started to lose weight. So this is one of the cases where just by working your way up to your maintenance calories or just finding out your maintenance calories and eating your maintenance calories can actually bring you benefit, good result. So at this point, like I said, there's also like I have other clients who just start at this maintenance calories as well and just stay at this maintenance calorie because they focus on strength training, they focus on just getting the steps in, better food, better habit. They just started leaning out from here as well. So plenty, that's another process called body recomposition. So plenty of magic can happen just at this step one, metabolic restoration phase as well. Okay. And also this is the phase where we introduce you to strength training. So next point, next step. So once we have established, okay. So like I said, so the metabolic restoration, once we have established your maintenance calories, there is going to be like different duration. So some people can go 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Some people can go up to say a few months, 6 months. Z went through like I think 3-4 months where we worked it up all the way to 1,008. Yeah. So on the best case scenarios, I've seen that my clients stay on this phase for about 3 months and still lost weight and still got stronger, even without entering the fat loss phase first. So that is the, but like this phase, step one, a lot of magic can happen and it is varied between individuals, but a good number to aim for, always look for 2 weeks. So why 2 weeks? You want to make sure that this is where you collect all the data. 2 weeks is great for you to actually find the 7 to 2 weeks average. And then it's enough to, if you go through a bit of plateau, it's enough to see whether you need to make some changes or not, stuff like that. Okay. Now, step 2, let me move my handsome face here. Okay, so step 2 is where we enter the fat loss sprint phase or just a regular fat loss phase. Now, once we have established, let's say we know the maintenance calories already. We already done the math exactly how many calories that you want to lose in the next 3 weeks, 3 months, 4 months, or whatever. So we have a goal. So this process, why I said in the beginning, why it can take up to 6 months to 12 months is because that when you want to lose weight, you want to make sure that you try to target for about 6 to 12 weeks. Sometimes it can go up to 16 weeks. So let's just say if you take the 2 weeks off the metabolic restoration phase, that's already 2 weeks. And then you take about 12 weeks here, that's already about 14 weeks. But let's just say if you go up, you push the fat loss phase a bit up to 16 weeks, that's already about 16 weeks plus 2 weeks, that's 18 weeks already. Okay. Now, and then there's also, we have other steps after this, which would take more weeks as well. So just the calorie deficit alone, you can start as low as 6 weeks. You want to see like some true changes, you need a minimum of 6 weeks. Some actual changes to your body. You can start seeing some difference about 4 weeks onwards, but some true lasting changes will start to happen usually about 6 weeks onwards. Now, I put 6 to 12 weeks here because that's the average that I do, but max I would try to put is about 16 weeks. The reason why is about 16 weeks for most people. I do have clients that go beyond 16 because they have more body fat to lose. That's a different story. If you're in the obese category or very overweight category, you can afford to go longer than that, as long as your diet fatigue is managed. But now for most people, maximum they should try to aim for is about 12 weeks, max 16 weeks if you can. And then the weight that you want to aim for is anywhere between 10 to 12, 14%, maybe 15, maybe. But that is like pushing it already, like on the boundary of losing muscle mass. Because based on like what I've seen, based on the studies as well, is that the ideal weight for you to lose is about 1% of weight per week. So that means when you lose 1% of weight per week, majority of it will come from your fat mass. Majority of it. You still lose some water, a bit of lean mass here, but majority of it will lose from fat mass. You don't want to lose your muscle mass. You can sustain as much muscle mass or lean mass as possible when you focus on losing just pure fat. Okay. So how we do that, we target about 1% per week. Sometimes you can go up to 1.2% depending on how big you are. Okay. So the bigger you are, the more aggressive that it can be. And then by the time we hit 12 to 16 weeks, usually the diet fatigue is going to be sky high. When it's sky high, like you're going to be not a very nice person to be around. You'll be agitated. You're going to be very tired, lethargic all the time. You're probably going to complain a lot. You'll be like a zombie mode. Brain fog will tend to start to happen as well. So it's not a pleasant feeling. And so what we want to do, metabolic adaptation happens a lot easier at this point in time. And you can push through. You can just hang in there and just shut the fuck up and just go through for 5 months. So I can, not a problem. But a more sustainable approach, especially for people like my clients who have like crazy ass schedule, who doesn't have, and they need to be sharp at all times as well, especially for work meetings and stuff like that. So this kind of thing, it works for them. Okay. So like I said, this is why about 6 to 12 weeks. Now, at this point in time, we can choose to increase the training. So let's say during the metabolic restoration phase where you get introduced to strength training, you started with 2 sessions a week. So ideally, you should be training about 2 to 4 times strength training per week. So if you started with 2, maybe you can start increasing. So this time 3. Or if you're able to do 4, you do 4. Okay, if you started with 3, try to do 4. If you started with 4 is max. It's a sweet spot. You can go for 5. I personally train about 5 to 6 days a week, but that is because I can recover from it. My schedule allows me for it. Okay, but 2 to 4 is the sweet. This is also where like the focus here will be more on making sure that you reduce strength training to build muscle, okay, and to make sure we retain as much muscle mass as possible, and of course to get strong, but not like powerlifting strong, but focus strong for general life. And when we get stronger, that's where we build our muscle mass as well. So we want to train close to failure with good form. Okay, this is not the point. This is not the time we want to max up on things. Very important. The next point is what we're going to do is we're going to start by increasing our activity level. We try to max out. We want to try and make sure induce as much calorie deficit from movement first without picking ourselves over, essentially. So that means we're not going to like super fixate on a fuck ton of cardio. So you want to make sure that you do actually focus on increasing as much steps as you can manage and sustain. So you want to start off with whatever your yearly step average has been. We're not talking about weekly, we're not talking about daily, we're talking about yearly. So that is a more trustworthy data that has led you to where you are currently at right now. If your yearly average step has been, let's say, 3,000, okay, so you want to start to be able to at least maybe increase by 1.5 or maybe increase by 3,000 steps. Okay, so 1.5 to 3,000 additional is anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes per day. It's very doable for you to do. It can be like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 20 minutes done. Or you can do 20 minutes, one shot, also can. So what I like to do in the morning, when I wake up, just wake up 10 minutes earlier. After I get my drink, after I get my coffee, just go straight outside, just walk for about 10 minutes, gather my thoughts, get the brain started. Okay, then I go for my shower, wash my face or whatever. Okay, so another way that you can do this is I really encourage you that after every single meal, especially for lunch and dinner, try to walk for about 10 minutes if you can, okay? 5 to 10 minutes, at least just walk a bit. So this is one of the best time for you to actually walk, get your steps in. The reason why is that after you eat, okay, like our body's response to food is going to be a spike in insulin. Doesn't matter what the fuck you eat, protein, carbs, fat, your insulin will be spiked after you eat a meal. That is just how our body responds to it. Insulin is not a bad thing, but excessive in chronic elevated insulin is going to be a bad thing. Okay, so now one of the things how we can help with managing our insulin level better is just by having some light activity after you consume food. So that means like just going for a walk, purposeful walk, about 5 to 10 minutes. I will encourage about 10 to 15 minutes actually, but that will actually help you become more insulin sensitive in the future, and you are less likely to store more fat in the future. It's a lot easier that way. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. So it's a win-win. So you get to expand your calories, you get to manage your insulin level better, and you feel a lot better as well. Trust me. Okay, your digestion is going to be significantly a lot better. So it's a win. Okay. Another thing that we can do as well is that you can start by introducing additional cardio sessions. So there are plenty of ways to approach this. You can do like any form of cardio that you like: rowing, running, swimming, pickle, paddle, tennis. Maybe not golf. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, so anything like, okay, golf maybe, because golf actually increase your step count quite high. But the problem is that when I see a lot of golf players keeps getting fat because after all their walks, they have a lot of either alcohol, have a lot of high sugary drinks, or have a lot of food that just, it's like redundant. But anyways, I digress. Okay, so anyways, additional cardio sessions that you enjoy. So there are a lot of ways that we can do this. You can even do like interval fast walks. There's plenty of strategies around it that you can do. Anything that can make it sustainable and less boring for you. Okay. So then step 4 is, of course, we build habits on top of the other habits that we have established from the metabolic training. So this is where, like I mentioned, okay, so increasing your daily steps, getting your protein daily, making sure you're tracking your food, making sure tracking your weight on a daily basis, taking your progress photos, all these kind of habits is going to be helpful in the future. So this is where the process is just going to repeat for the next 6 to 12 weeks. Okay, you want to make sure that you know the amount of calories that you're consuming. If you don't know the amount of calories consuming, I got plenty of tools here. Or you can just DM me the word palm system. I'll send you a system on how to measure your calories with your palm. Or if you need help with setting this up, just DM me the word ready and I can help you get started. Okay, so next one is, okay, so during this phase is what is going to happen is that this is where you're going to start seeing the visible changes. Okay, this is where like the things that nice to see, yeah, start seeing the changes in the scale or the weight starts to drop. Okay, but we don't want to just measure just on the scale itself. Okay, there's going to be plenty of ways. So you want to see the progress factor, you want to see the weight in the scale, you want to see measurements as well. You can see clothes, okay, how you feel, how you look in the mirror, stuff like all that takes into consideration as well, and also like your performance at the gym. So the visible changes, okay, where you start seeing the changes in the scale, okay, that's going to be one of the easiest to measure. Okay, then the next one is going to be like you want to measure your waist at least. So when you start to see some droppings of inches of cm in your waist, and then you start seeing like you see the difference in the mirror, you start feeling it in your clothes, it started becoming looser as well. The second thing is you will start seeing in like 6 weeks of it. So fourth week, you start seeing some changes already, depending on how aggressive you start in the beginning. Okay, so increased strength and energy is definitely going to be there as well because you're eating a lot better. Even if you're in a calorie deficit, you're having more protein, you're having more fiber, you are doing proper strength training, you're building muscle as well and losing fat at the same time. Okay, diet breaks are added as a money. So diet break is a bit more advanced strategies where if your diet fatigue is a bit too high, then we take you out of fat loss phase, we put you back at the maintenance. Or you have a travel plans coming up or your schedule, stuff like that. So we can plan diet break accordingly. This diet break is where we include getting you to eat at maintenance calories. But there's ways to manage your maintenance calories as well. It won't be the same exact maintenance calories as you first started. So the step 3 is where the reverse dieting phase happens. This is probably the missing magic that most people fuck up. Okay. So some people out there, okay, I know that this clashes with some other like educators or maybe fitness influencers out there where they say reverse dieting is stupid. You don't need reverse dieting. You can just eat sugar, eat less calories. Now, these people, I believe, are outliers. So what they are referring to is what we call recovery dieting. So I'm not going to say who's right. I'm not going to say who's wrong, but I am saying only based on what I have personally experienced, what I have coached my clients go through, and what I've seen works with myself and my clients. Now, recovery dieting works. It's immediately going straight to maintenance calories. But I feel, based on what I've seen, just straight away eating back to your maintenance calories without properly calculating it, without having like proper control, because most people, especially general population, will experience rapid weight gain because they don't have the idea of how to control, especially like been dieting for 12 weeks. And for general population, that form of control might be quite hard to achieve. So people like me, for recovery dieting, maybe is a lot easier. Now, I also found that, okay, that you are in this kind of spot where it's a lot easier because your diet fatigue is sky high. It's a lot easier for your body to store more fat. So it's just I've found that so much more success just by actually introducing reverse dieting instead, which has been introduced by Dr. Lane Norton. But okay, I learned it from Dr. Lane Norton. Okay, but I don't know where he got it from. Okay, but essentially, this is pretty much the critical exit strategy that I feel that it will be missing if you don't apply it in your fat loss game, in your fat loss plan. Okay, let's get straight to it. What it is, I've been rambling about it too much. Okay, so this is what you need to do when you go through a reverse dieting phase. You want to make sure that you gradually increase your calories to your new expected maintenance. If you have lost 10 kg, like 5 kg, 8 kg, 10 kg, 20 kg, your new maintenance calories will not be the same as when you first started out. It also will vary depending on how much muscle mass that you have, but it is most likely that it's going to be like slightly lower than your new, or a bit more, or maybe a lot more lower than when you first started out, because you're just smaller as well at the same time. But the goal is you can bring it back, your maintenance calories back to your previous one and even exceed that. Okay. I'll show you how after this. Okay. But I believe that just by doing reverse dieting is the way to get you to your previous maintenance calories without gaining fat, and also be able to get you to build more your maintenance calories. So we gradually increase your calories bit by bit each week for the next 6 to 8 weeks after a fat loss phase is done. Okay. So let's say, for example, you ended the fat loss phase at, let's say, 1001. Okay. So I had one client after she lost 14 years of plateau with me. Okay. So she managed to lose about 9 kgs after about 14 weeks. So we ended so her maintenance calories was about 1,700 plus 17 something, 1744, 1745, whatever. So 1,700 plus. So we ended about 1,1. And then she managed to lose about 9 kilos. And if you've seen like her progress photos, she was great. She she only trained about 2 times a week. We focus on getting her steps in. So with this, we started at week 1 of reverse dieting at 1,002. And then we slowly increased our calories week after week until by week 8, we hit 1,007. So then during this phase, her weight up and down, it was up and down in a good way. It's like plateauing. A few hundred grams here, 1 kg, 300 grams go down, 1 kg. So after losing the weight just plateau up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay. So that is the rate. So you give yourself a range that you want to let your weight bounce back up and down a bit. So that's the kind of plateau that you want eventually, right? Everyone, that's the good plateau that we want after losing weight. We want a plateau at the new weight that we wanted. So even during this reverse dieting, she ended up losing a bit more weight because technically even during the reverse dieting, she was still in a calorie deficit. So that's why she ended up losing about 10 kgs overall. Yeah, but it's the lowest weight that she's been since like her first kid, apparently, according to her, for the past 14 years. And now, as I'm recording this, is March 2026. She started last year, February, end of Jan 2025. Now it's March 2026, and she's still kept it off. Okay, she's still so from 60, or was it 59, 60, I think 62, around there, I can't remember. But now she is about like 49, 50. I look it up. So we have a lot of other cases, in some cases as well. Like we have Nabil, we have Z, we have Penny, who broke her 15-year plateau as well. After 6 months of losing, about 70, those kind of things, and she's still keeping it off until now. Okay, but anyways, coming back to this, the whole point was actually like to gradually increase your calories. The reason why we want to do this is we want to get you to stabilize at your new body weight. We want to make sure that the goal is for you to eat more without gaining back the fat. Okay. I mentioned earlier, minor fluctuations is normal, which is your body adapting. You're going to have more food in your body, more glycogen, more carbs in your body. So as long as you're not eating past your expected maintenance calories, you will not be gaining fat. Okay. So it's not fat, it's just more water. And at the same time, so because also we are focusing on muscle building during this reverse dieting phase, you will be building your muscle mass as well, be eating more as well. So we are focused on increasing your carbs, and then we're getting you to train heavier. So that means when you have more muscle mass, you're going to have a higher maintenance calories. So this is where like I said, this is how we can get you to eat more and keep your results long term. Like I said, your new expected maintenance calories might be lower than when you first started out. So let's say my client, a new maintenance calories, maybe her lowest was 1.6, but we managed to bring it up to 1.7, 1.8. Now she's eating about 1.7, 1.8 at a lower body weight. Okay, we're talking about Jennifer. All right. So also, let's say if you have more fat to lose, let's say you're someone who, let's say, for me, for example, let's say I started at 102. So like last year, I started at 102. I spent about 3 months trying to lose about 3 kg. I spent about 3 months trying to lose about 10 kilos. Managed to do that, no issue. So I went through, after that, reverse dieting for about 6 weeks. And then after that, went through another about 6 weeks of fat loss phase. Managed to do another 5 kg. Sorry, about maybe 7 weeks, I can't remember. So now it's March, right? So I started October. So October, November, December, lost 10 kilos. Then January to early Feb was the reverse dieting phase. I was about 11, 12 kg lost total, but I was eating more here. Then until February, until early Feb was done, then I started another fat loss phase, lost another few kilos. So total, I've lost about 15 kilos, 16 kilos lost. Yeah. So anyways, that's one way of approaching it. So like I recovered from the diet fatigue, from dieting too much. From the 3 to 4 months on a calorie deficit. So I needed that recovery. So I needed to feel better. I need to perform better just in time, because I planned my reverse dieting. My time was during my high rocks time. So that's also easier. And of course, I wasn't going to be in Japan, so I'm going to be eating a lot. So that's where like you want to time your reverse dieting. You want to time your diet break accordingly as well. Okay. Yeah. And reverse dieting is also a great way to break a plateau. So if they did, this is why also where you can take more than 6 months for your fat loss phase to happen. You can go to your metabolic restriction phase, then your fat loss phase, and then you're going to go through a reverse dieting phase, which takes about 6 to 8 weeks. Then you can either choose at this point in time to go through another fat loss phase or go to the next phase, which is going to be a lifestyle integration phase. But if you choose to go another fat loss phase, then you can go for maybe a shorter fat loss phase or the same amount of fat loss, and then repeat until you hit fat loss, reverse dieting, and then repeat until you hit the targeted weight. And of course, if you like how you targeted body fat percentage, not just the weight, and how you look, how you feel is even more important, especially in clothes and without clothes. Okay. So this is going to be the lifestyle integration phase, the final phase after the reverse dieting phase. So this is where when you've achieved your fat loss phase, congratulations. This is where you're going to be your new body weight is stabilized. This is where you want to keep it as sustainable. So like I briefly mentioned earlier, this is where you're going to decide your next move. Okay, this is where you're going to choose your path. Either you want to focus on another fat loss phase, or you want to focus on a more hypertrophy phase, or where you focus on muscle building phase to increase your metabolism. So the more muscle mass that you have, the more that you can eat. There's plenty of ways to approach this as well. And a lot of people also fuck up with this, but decide to actually listen to a lot of bodybuilding bros and start increasing the calories by 20%. No, okay? That's more like a crazy ass block. And they have drugs to actually keep the body fat down. If you are a natural and you're not looking to inject yourself, okay, increasing your calories needs to be like on the more conservative, especially in the lifestyle integration phase and post fat loss phase. Okay, so this is where that we integrate the habits here. So before this, maybe you've been sedentary, you've not been doing strength training and stuff like that. You've not been getting your steps in, you've not been getting your protein, and you've not been getting enough sleep. You've been sleeping like shit, like 4 or 5 hours. Now at least be sleeping 6 or 7 or maybe 8 hours, and then you're not getting enough fiber in. So this is where we want to sustain all the habits that we built here. You are now more active. You have more muscle mass. You have done your strength training. That now it should be more like a habit, like brushing your teeth, going to the gym. Getting your steps in, hitting your protein should just be like brushing your teeth and showering. Unless you don't like that, we can't be friends, man. Okay. But anyways, the point I'm trying to say is that, okay, everything here now should not be a chore. You don't have to go at this point. I will get after I did lifestyle integration phase, right? During this lifestyle integration phase. So maybe like during the fat loss phase, I'll get my clients to lose about, I'll get my clients to do about 12,000 steps, 15,000 steps even, or maybe like different strategies of getting the steps in. They don't have to do that anymore, but they still need to maintain a certain number of steps. Like the minimum I get them to get hit on a daily basis should be about 7,000 to 8,000 steps per day, which is still more than when they first started out. Okay, so this also will help you keep your metabolism high. So this is part of another lecture that I can go into, which is total daily energy expenditure. So essentially, you just want to keep your need high. And one of the ways of keeping your calorie output high as well is getting decent amount of steps on a daily basis. Okay, you don't want to rely on just exercising to burn calories, because that's a waste of time. There's only burns about 5% of your total daily energy expenditure. We go to the gym, we focus on getting stronger there and building muscle there. The rest should come from other, if you want to manage off the calories, should be from nutrition and your needs, like walking, getting your steps in, your food, your calories, stuff like that. Those are, I think, are more important than killing yourself at the gym. It's all gonna be a repeating cycle, all right? So you start with the metabolic restriction phase, then we have the fat loss phase, and then we have the reverse dieting phase. And then you go through you can choose whether to enter straight the lifestyle integration phase, where you focus on just maintaining or building your muscle mass. You can just forever eat at your new maintenance calories, or you can choose to focus on increasing your muscle mass. I would choose to increase your muscle mass because throughout as we age, we actually will start to lose a bit of muscle mass a lot faster. That is something that we will take note on as well. So our protein requirement will increase as well. Okay, but that is another topic. But I want to focus on right now, then your new identity. This is your 2.0 version. Everything that you've done here is how you keep it off. Your new lifestyle, your new identity. This is your version 2.0. If you go back to your version 1.0 where you eat like shit, you become sedentary. That's how you go back to being unhealthy again. To me, if I were to go back, then I'll be a fat piece of shit. And that's something that I cannot accept. I cannot accept hitting how I look in the mirror. That's more like a body image, because that actually relates to my confidence level, how I carry myself in the world, which indirectly affects how I do my job, indirectly affects how I talk to people. So this kind of thing matters to me, to my body. So I will try to, and also I am also a coach. I need to lead by example as well. And it's something I truly enjoy. Going to the gym, making sure that I look good, I feel strong. Those kind of things are important to me. But you need to find your own reason why that you want to sustain this lifestyle. So some people, because of health issues, some people want to be an inspiration to their family, to their kids. Find your own reason why. Okay. So as a recap, so this is pretty much at this point, you just enjoy result. You focus on, like I said, to recap, focus on building muscle. You want to reduce your diet fatigue or increase your metabolism for the next fat loss phase if needed. This is the phase once you finish your reverse dieting phase. Okay, but make sure you need to celebrate as well. You need to go eat your favorite food as well, but you need to adjust accordingly. Yeah. Okay. So just to find a recap. So this is what I said, the missing phase, where like what you need when it comes to losing weight and keeping it off. All right. So this is how all my clients got their results. Now, maybe your goal is not to have a six pack or getting shredded and stuff like that, but losing body fat matters as well. And if you want to lose certain body fat, looking good, feeling good, okay, this and for the rest of your life, it's gonna be very important. This is a thing that you need to do. Aside from the basic of strength training, eating a protein and stuff like that. So this is the steps that you go. Okay, step 1, metabolic restoration phase. Step 2, the fat loss phase. Step 3, the reverse dieting phase. And then step 4 is going to be the lifestyle integration phase. Okay, and how you do it. And if you need help on setting all this up, exactly play out what you need to do for the next 6 months, 12 months, and stuff like that. Okay, just DM me the word ready and I'll help you set up. Okay, if not, all the best to you. Okay, and hopefully this has been helpful in explaining what is the missing link, what has been missing from your fat loss journey.